afternoon and evening, Supercoach Elites. Welcome back to another Supercoach Elites video, proudly sponsored by the Patreons at patreon.com/SC Elites, and I'm over at Elites Breaks. My name's Corey, and we're back today for a YouTube video. I do apologise. 2 weeks ago was the recovery from Gather Round, and then last week was a little bit lazy. So I thought I would come back mainly for the draft talk, but here's my classic team up on the screen as well. Just a couple of things to talk about. On the classic front, pretty boring from me this week. Not a lot's going to change from the potty. It's going to be as simple as Rogers and Sweet for Reef. That was a shocking pick, and I've got to fix it. If somehow he came in tonight, I wouldn't do it. I'd find something else, but that's where I'm sitting right now. It gives me $200k in the bank. Depending on what happens tonight, I think Zach Williams will be selected. Rumours earlier in the week that he may miss, but I don't think that'll happen. But I could potentially use that boost to go down and get Garcia from the Dogs. Maybe. Not overly confident in the fact that he's playing on Sunday either. So, this is essentially what I'm looking at now. Unless something pops up and the captaincy can come, the VC can go on Gorn, I'm most likely going to go into Sheasel. St Kilda have given up more points to the halfback flank than anyone in the league. The role change is definitely there, but let's face it, unless it's over 130, I'm not taking the VC score anyway. I'm pretty confident. Jump has kind of tried to make a comment in the Patreon the other day about how Stanley's negated Ruckman this year. I think he's had 2 matchups that he's kept to below 115 or 110, something like that. And both those players had 40-plus hit-outs on him. So I'm thinking Max Gorn is going to go absolutely RJ Barrett second half gangbusters. This is a classic team. It's starting to shape up okay. I kind of like the look last week. I got a couple of weeks. It was a 23... couple of wins. It was a 23-87, as mentioned on the potty. Push that rank back up from the week before. I'm expecting maybe a dip this week just because I know so many people are doing so much to get some upgrades. A lot of people will be moving power, which I didn't have. But slow and steady wins the racing. Very, very healthy in most of my cashies. So there's no real need to rush. It'll be Zach Merritt next week. The likes of Petrarca and Matt Round, Sarong coming after that as well too. Butters kind of looking at those bottom out players. Hopefully Rosie lines up on the field tonight, has been selected to play. I can't really see why they'd name the captain and pull him out late, but maybe they could be playing a little bit of funny games. Means I get the loophole of Dawson and Rogers this week, which I love. The backline, nothing silly's going on there. The loop would only happen if somehow Tom Brown wasn't selected to play. Can't really see that how it's going with injury, and I will get the chance to have a look at Biggie Newen with Darcy as well. So, really kind of like where the team's sitting at this stage in the classic format. I am just trying to get the players that I do think will be top 8. There's been a lot of chat in the Patreon this week about who we're kind of confident of from here on in. My answer would be probably Bont. It's like a top 4 or top 5. Bont, Rao, Merritt, Butters, Sarong, and a lot can change. Walsh was good since he got back, but Chera coming back in tonight. Couldn't ignore it at the price. Jordan Dawson's starting to fly. And, Green's susceptible to some low-scoring games too. So that's kind of what I'm looking at over the next couple of weeks. I'll have a look at Luke Ryan, who should kind of bottom out around 600k. Cash Gen does allow at the moment for us to spend up to a couple of these players in the forward line. I don't really want to touch until those after round 12 DPP changes have come through, and that's when I can really start looking at attacking the forwards. Anyway, we're 4 minutes in, and all I've done is chatted classics. Let's go have a look at draft. Now, I want to go through what I've done over the last couple of weeks, so I am sitting in a good spot here. Let's kind of center that as much as we can. We can see a couple of new additions to my team and a couple of players of going who those have been following along. Jaden Short was dropped. Now, I want to talk about something because I picked it up straight away as soon as the injury, and I want to talk about something that I do when I'm having a look at waivers, especially waivers and free agency claims. So quite often, if I'm looking at one or the other, we'll do it with the free agency here. I just want to say he's been dropped this week. Is a lot of people will only sort by 1 total points, 2 average is the most sought out after market here. Maybe I'm better off moving And I can give you an example even, because you can see the first three, that's all right. Sorting by average. 3-round average, very relevant, especially in the draft format, shows you form. 5-round average, a little bit relevant as well. But these are the two that I kind of like doing too, because this is where the Jaden Short one got through. Now, at this stage when Short was there, I had a very low waiver claim. I think I was last or second last. And I noticed that Jaden Short had been dropped. And it's one of those ones where, I always say defenders are a dime a dozen, but the floor for Short's probably 85-ish. And the other component to this is if Rioli does leave next year, he's actually going to be looked at as probably a classic pick if he is sub 400 or low 400s to start the season. I think if he's on every single kick in, the ball mover out of that back line, then Jaden Short's pretty sexy, especially in drafts. So as soon as I went that left, it was straight on. And you check your leagues, because every league's different, especially being a keeper league. You get a lot of people who are so focused on the now form that they do let players like Jaden Short go. And I think Perko's made a mistake here, and I've spoken to him about it. He's adamant that he hasn't. But that's where we sit on that one. So I think it is a good one to have a look at. Now, I've already sat through, but it just shows you sometimes that players that slip through the cracks. Fuck it, I'm just going to do it because of the purpose of this video. But one, for instance, is Lockie Hunter right here. Now, I know that as soon as I release this, there's going to be a couple of people in our draft league who watch it. So I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, but there's a lot of other people who watch it that need to know what to do. So Lockie Hunter has had a fair bit of time off, hasn't played. You can see his current percentage is only in 11% of leagues. It's not one that I want to kind of stash and sit on my bench, but it's one where right now, if you have a look at our free agencies, and I'll sort this by midfield only. So if I have a bit of a midfield only sort and then to go by average, like the next highest scoring mid, Jared Lyons you cannot trust because of the sub risk, but the next highest scoring mid is 70. So to get a player like Lockie Hunter, he's had 2 good weeks in the VFL, and I think he's probably ready to come back in sooner rather than later. Like, they can be a big difference. They can be a huge boost in your, final midfield spots. If you're a short, shallower league, don't worry about it. But these is where you find players like this that are coming back from injury that you can really go and be like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't realise he was sitting there. Another one that I like, and I'll try and do it. I'm going to try and do it in this video because I don't think I've done it yet. Is Sam Draper got forward status. Now, I think Draper, especially in one of these kind of leagues, is worth stashing onto your bench. The big fella could have every opportunity at some stage this year to be the solo ruck. And as a forward, like, it could come pretty bloody handy. I'll have a look at press down when he returns. At the moment, I'm just going to hold Titch. I know there's danger signs, but my midfield's very, very deep. So that's just something that I wanted to bring up. No, I would have forgot about it, I know, if I didn't talk just then, like the Jaden Short factor. Now, God, I hate how that jumps like that. Let's have a little chat about what I've done over the last couple of weeks. So 2 weeks ago, I just mentioned the short factor. I'm still holding with it, and by all means, if you've got him and you haven't already dropped him, you're allowed to piss that off. But progressively getting better every single week. He's probably got a week or 2 more left in mine. Finlayson was on the waivers. I grabbed Finlayson off the waivers this week, expecting him to be announced to come back in the team. I will still hold that. With Jordan Sweet as the only ruckman in there right now, when Finlayson returns, I think he's going to pinch hit in the ruck, and the 76.8 average that he's got at the moment probably will be a little bit higher. I expect it to be in low to mid 80s, so I think that's a steal. Something else I've done is I traded. We can trade future picks. So I traded my, I think, 5th round next year or something like that, and I'll tell you right here, I've got it written down, everything that we've traded, because if I'm going to do these picks, so I traded with Salty. He gets my 6th round pick next year. So essentially how that works is I'll give him when my 6 picks on the clock, I'll take that. He tells me who he wants, I'll draft it, and then he takes the last pick for me, and I send that back. We do a trade. So you have to have that mutually agreed on in any cash league that you're running when you do it. So I sent Windhanger and my pick 6 for Zach Fisher, just that defensive forward swing, and then he was named sub. So that was kicking the dick. Hopefully he comes out of there. Hopefully with all these role changes he sits alright, but at this stage it might work out to be not the most ideal trade. You can see someone who was big on Dustin Martin in the preseason was me. The role hasn't worked out how I wanted to, so because I'm stacked with forwards, I basically went and done a deal last night and late last night with JB. He needed some forwards, I needed some defenders, so I took Ed Richards off his hands. I sent Dusty his way, and we had an exchange of picks. I picked up his second round pick next year, and he picked up my 5th. I think top 2 picks are pretty valuable in any draft, so I was pretty bloody happy with that. But he's in compete now mode too, so when you're in those modes, if you do have draft picks, the ability to trade draft picks, there's no harm in doing it. Free agency claims last week, Broad and Duray. Duray was disappointing, but I'm still going to stick fat with that. Impy I've had all year. Ed Richards is now in my team and sitting there pretty nicely. Rao, Rosie, Chera, Crouch, Oliver, Guthrie, Tanner. I'm still sticking fat with Clary. Don't trade too low. A lot of people get frustrated. Hold it. My ruckman, I'm still streaming. So when Soldo went out, I picked up the pit. I had a week of that, so 112. Coming up against Collingwood this week, I don't like it as much. But realistically, I don't think there's too much else out there in the world of ruckman. And I'm pretty sure someone already went and picked up Sweet. Yeah, they did. So someone's gone and grabbed Sweet. Odd claim, like unless you've got a ruckman out, but that's okay. Omac might come back in. If that's the case, that'll be the trade there, but that'll have to wait till teams. Yeah, nothing else out there. And look, the pit's very serviceable because he does a lot around the ball as well. So this is where we're sitting at the moment. I'll get the leagues up. The Heaney Flanders combo is awesome. Mackenzie's starting to find some form, so I traded... I picked that off the waiver. That was where I used my waiver claim. That was the last kind of time I jumped on with you guys. Let's have a look at the leagues. Lost last week, which was disappointing, especially because I put a huge score up the week before. I think we can go back, but free agency claims, trades... You can have a look at what's kind of going on. Millsy picked up Sweet. I could check. I can't really be bothered. Pergar's pretty happy with himself picking up Burgoyne. Yeah. I dropped Stengel, which when that run started to get a little bit tough, kind of looks like it was the wrong move. Oh, he was a free agent, Draper. I thought he already had him. So Ding Dong Danger. He was actually the one who pointed it out to me that he was a ruck too. I didn't actually realise that. So... That's a nice little grab there. That could be one later in the year that if we do, even in the classic format, if we do get that option there as well. So that was round 7. I'll come back a couple of rounds because we did miss some stuff, and I did kind of do some streaming things last week too. So we had a big trade where Bont, Jackson and Steele went for Grundy, Walsh and Sheasel. I know when this trade happened, Danger had Gawn and Grundy because he'd organised the deal to get Gawn across. So... pissing out his ruckman. I know he's gotten rid of... he's acquired Jackson, which he was pretty happy with. I think in this instance, Danger kind of has to be win now because he's grabbed Bont and Steele, and that's okay. But he's gotten rid of 2 players. I just think there's probably not too many players I would trade either of these 2 for. Maybe, me and Mitch were talking the other day, and he wanted... we were talking about Rao, and I basically said Rao's off limits unless you come with overs, and he's like, I wouldn't even trade Sheasel for Rao. I wouldn't even trade Rao for Sheasel. So that's kind of where we stood on that front. Everyone rates their players to a certain extent. And there we got that. This worked last week. Ben King went to the waivers. I picked him up. So they're the ones you got to look for. You need to have, an expendable slot, and it was an 80, which really helps. Every team just needs to have that slot where you're not afraid to just bite the bullet and pick up the players and focus on teams that are playing North Melbourne and, Richmond and was West Coast. And I still don't think West Coast are that flash hot, but, the coasters as well. If Zach Fisher is looking like he's going to be sub this week, I'm going to piss off. It'll probably be Witherden and go grab a forward, 2 metre Peter or something like that and have a real crack. So I'll jump across to the other draft league. This is one that I don't really want to touch on too much, but looking good. My defense is absolutely stacked. My midfield's going okay to it. They're starting to pick up a little bit. Will Day just got back. I'm pretty happy about that. That'll be a slow burn back into some good footy. The depth already had Zach Fisher here too. I took the risk of picking up Simpkin off the waivers in this league because he gained forward status. So role changes, sticking around. I'll give that 2 to 3 weeks. If he goes back in the midfield, I'll be laughing. If he doesn't, I'm screwed. But I need to figure out right now who is going to go because I kind of do want to take, and it might be, as I say, actually probably going to be Simpkin. I really want to take this risk here. Oh, no, it might be Lucky Ash. Yeah, it might be Lucky Ash. Trent Rivers I like in the future. Ash has been good. Oh, fuck, I've actually thought Ash had been good. Oh, it could be Windhanger. And yeah, but then I'm giving people a chance to grab a midfielder, and I don't want to do that. Sometimes you've got to think like that because he's got the DPP. He's pretty handy. What am I doing? Sorry, because I wanted to do a trade. He scored a 17.07 in that league last week. It was absolutely massive. Let's bite the bullet, especially because I don't want it to come to team to name tonight, and I've got to go have a look at the potential of picking up... So Jordan Sweet's still here in this league. So if I was running the Ruckman this weekend, I'd be going Sweet. Burgon's still here. So this is a lot less active league. It's been going on for a very long time. Miles Bergman's here. There's some fucking good players in this league. My defense is too stacked though. And the league's kind of not active enough to really do trade. Like this league's very quiet where a league that I kind of focus on every week is very, very active. You almost, when a league is quiet, and you've got a good team, you kind of want to keep it quiet because if you keep it quiet, less people get picked off waivers in an extent. Like it's fun to have like competitive leagues and this and that, just beat your friends, but you also do want to kind of have an advantage for yourself, especially if you're paying for cash. So I do apologise for the run time here. We will just go, I could have just topped in Draper. So I do think Draper is a stash and grab if he's on leagues. Watch Lucky Hunter tonight. If you've got questions about players that you should look at, Lockout is tonight at 7 o'clock. Post them in. I'll try and reply to comments throughout the day. A lot of everything we do is always on Patreon, but for the YouTube, I don't mind doing it here. I don't mind getting this channel going a little bit, and I will reply to your comments if you actually have anything you want. Sammy Draper was a free agent. Ash for Drapes, it kind of helps the Zach Fisher thing too. I mean, the average is low and that's fine. He has played a lot of forward time, but Goldstein could come out of that team at any stage throughout the year. He's old. We'll see how we go. Oh, I hate the white screen. It looks crap. I'd rather just have my team sitting there. Supercoach app can be funny sometimes. Other than that, not too much more to talk about. Trades in Classic. Sweet's a must-have, regardless of how you've done it. We talked about it on the potty the other day. There goes Drape, so I'll fix that a little bit later. Sweet is a must-have. Go get that. I do like Rogers. I think he'll hold his spot. Garcia worries me with the sub-talking players to come back. We probably might have a little bit to look at next week as well. So I can see that I'm having some user errors here and some issues with the runtime, so I will wrap it up there, and we can see it's just a blank screen. So Elites, on behalf of myself, the patrons at patreon.com/SC Elites, and everyone else, peace out and thank you for watching.